Yo, what's good, everybody? Welcome back again to another episode of the GTR Build. Uh, Made a lot of progress today. I want to go over my clutch setup and kind of, just talk a little bit about what led up to me having to get a new clutch setup. But anyways, we're going to talk about that. Um, just want to also provide a small update on what's been going on with the car um, since the last time you guys seen it. So nothing much, right? Not true. If you can see, the sump is now back on. It's back on the car. Also, the line for the HPR fitting that I talked about is there now, and she's torqued nice and tight, and you can see it's routed. Got a heat sleeve on it. What else is going on? Let's get around to the front of the business. Stop procrastinating with you guys. The timing is all done on the car. Timing, or not on the car, but on the motor. The timing is done, it's set. Here, if you guys want to know, this is what I use to help line me up. Put my marks there and there. As you can see, she's there. I did move it just slightly when I was actually putting my ATI bolt and dampener install on. However, if you also didn't know, if you're ever in question on RBs, there's an indentation right here. That indentation is actually, let's see if it can show up on the camera, guys. Yeah, let me get out of the light. See here. So that mark, this top dead center, is top dead center. Now, one thing is when I put this belt on, there is a particular way that this belt's got to get routed onto the cams and all, and it's arrows. I don't know, honestly, I can't speak into the OEM belt, but most aftermarket belts I've seen, it has a series of arrows and everything. And then the Gretty belt, which I'm running, it's the Gretty belt. The old belt's in there, you can see it. But anyways, actually, that's good. Let me see those arrows. So those arrows have to line up and go in this direction of the rotation of the motor. The other thing is it has solid yellow marks on both sides. Those yellow marks help you make sure and align your the yellow marks will be on the belt, like right there. That helps you keep everything in alignment. And then the last thing it has a dotted, instead of a solid, it has a dotted yellow line. That dotted yellow line is down here on your crank sprocket area to help you line up and make sure your oil pump and everything is in time and is in gear, and you're at top dead center. The other thing is there's a mark on the cam sprocket. You align that to your mark on your oil pump, and then that kind of, it helps you make sure everything's lined up. If you're wondering what this is, that is the wheel sprocket pickup, or whatever you want to call it, for my NZ wiring cast delete. So I'm running a different setup. I'm not running the factory cast once this thing goes back together with the engine management system and all that I've picked. I know I've been doing a lot of talking, and I haven't even got to the part that started all this madness. And as you can see, she's on. She's welded. She's on there. That is the Leask Spec extended sump for your RBs. There's the line that I'm running back for the drain on this side. I know a lot of people talk about running it here on the exhaust side. I just didn't want to do that. I wanted to stay away from the heat as much as possible. These are my turbo lines. They're all wrapped with heat sleeve, but I, I just didn't want to run that. So run it, on the hot side. So I got it on the cold side. I still got to come up on a drain plug, but this is the kit. The Leask Spec kit actually comes with 2 plugs. You can plug those, and then it comes with your plug here, and it also supposed to come with a drain plug. So, inside story on me and my setup and my drama. I bought this on a Black Friday sale from a vendor stateside, and I got a good deal, but it was missing pieces. You know what I mean? So I had to get those pieces that normally comes with the Leask Spec setup. MA Motorsports here in the DMV, Baltimore area, took care of the fab work for me, welded it up really nice. They welded it inside and out. Very good job, clean job. And if you guys are wondering, something like that is going to run you to get done from a professional, which I highly suggest. It was like $1,250, it's $1,300 to get that done. But I'm happy with the work. I know it was done correctly. It was done to Leask Spec specifications. So yeah, if you are in this region of the country, and Maryland isn't that far of a drive for you, I suggest that you check out MA Motorsports for sure. Then there's a guy up in Jersey, a couple of places up that way in a tri-state area, but Sin Garage is another one that, if you're in that area, definitely take your stuff there to get done. So with that being said, today I've just been buttoning my pieces up for the car. This is finally going back on today. And this is the actual plenum charge area where your injectors, coolant, everything runs through. And then once that's done, the ITBs actually bolt onto there. And it's a part, man, that I'm actually excited to finally be able to put on the car. I know it's not nothing too great or grander. So this is like a cosmetic or the factory like paper style gasket. And for some time, probably like 3 going on 4, probably actually going on 4 years, I've had this in my house just sitting waiting to get put on. And this is the gasket that goes here. It's metal. It's not a paper gasket. So it should be reusable up to like 2 times if I ever have to pop it off. And it will stand up to the heat a lot better. The reason I was moving this around and pushing it up on there is because there's something else that was done to this head that I've never talked about on film. And I don't know if it'll show up without light. So give me a second, guys. All right. So if you guys can see that in detail and you know what you're looking at, this has had head work done on this head. So this isn't, oh wow, this isn't a stock head by far. She's had work done on it. So with that being said, you guys, I'm just looking at the valves. First time I actually have had a chance to do this in a while. And honestly, it's been, the car's been in a state of construction for some time. And I'm I'm happy with that. I've been taking my time with it. So anyways, yes, it's definitely had port and polish work done. They actually reshaped like this here. It's been thinned out. It's normally not that thin from the factory. So they did a very extensive port job. I don't know if they did a angle job on the valve area or not, but just now going over this car, man, and just seeing how much has been to it, I wouldn't put it past them to have done like an angle work in bigger valves, right? Fortunately, this car doesn't come with any like receipts or anything, so I can't stand here and verify too much, but I can say I wouldn't put it past them. The other good news is once I finally got the oil pump off of the car, I was able to verify that I actually do have the R34 or R33 Series 2 crank. It's the long nose crank. And then I was able to, I didn't just disassemble the engine all the way. I guess I could have, but I didn't. I have I-beam forged rods, and they were CP forged pistons with ARP hardware on the bottom side. And the top side, I don't know if I ever talked about it, discussed it, but if you guys can see, that is not a bolt. The head is studded, ARP studs. So yeah, it's set up the party a little bit. So anyways, today, this video, I'm gonna get set up a little bit, and I'm gonna talk about the clutch that's going in the car and what I found and everything. So hold tight. All right, guys, I'm back. I got this set up. I can like talk to you guys about it. So if you remember from previous video, a couple of videos ago, I finally, I took all of this stuff off because I had to get to those bolts, yada, yada, yada. That was on the oil pan. And then I got to inspecting my clutch setup briefly. So just knowing how much work was involved to drop the transmission out of the car and everything that's involved, okay? Because this isn't an Integra, this isn't a Civic. It's involved. It's involved. So anyways, it's like one of those jobs where I don't want to have to keep doing it over and over again. It's fun, but it's one of those things again where I want to enjoy the car and I don't want the headaches. So I jumped out there and I bought a new rebuild kit. Pressure plate was still in really good shape. This was still in good shape. However, when I pulled it apart, like as you can see here, signs of a lot of heat, a lot of abuse, right? I wasn't happy with that. So yeah, it's a lot of heat in there on both sides of it. So that, for one, made me start pondering, and these are my intermediate plates here, as you can see. But with that heat buildup that was in there and is in the flywheel assembly and everything, I wasn't happy. Then I got to looking at my clutch disc, and clutches you got to be careful of, because if you don't really know and you don't measure it and you just look at it, you'll think it's wore out, and it's really not. The only thing that caught me on my disc that kind of shook me up was here. You can kind of see it. It's like a piece of material, like a chunk of material missing. And that's fairly substantial in there. I could probably sand it down a little bit without creating too bad of a low spot. So anyways, I did all of that, and I jumped out there because I looked at this and I was like, man, I'm not sure if this is really war. It's got that chunk missing out of it. I have the finance to do it. I have the budget this year to do it. Just go ahead and get it done. Worst case scenario, I'll save these as spares. And that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to save this stuff as spares, right? Something that I want to discuss with you guys, if you haven't ran into it on your car and you're running an OS Giken twin or triple plate setup. I can speak definitely into the twins. There are multiple different variants. So after looking at all of this and starting my initial research, I thought I had a twin plate. Well, not thought. I knew I had a twin plate, but I didn't know which one. And just off the bat, when I did my first research, I only came up with one result. And that one result said that the clutch kit that I had was only good for 400 foot-pounds of torque, not horsepower. Your clutch, you want to really look at your torque numbers and base your clutch off of that. Again, not horsepower, but engine, driveline torque, right? So anyways, I was like, dang, man, 450, I don't think that's enough. So I started trying to figure out research on the motor setup, the combination that I have. And I wasn't getting anything that was solid. They're all over the place. Of course, each setup is completely different, right? But I kept looking, and then I looked at the clutches, and these I noticed were different, right? So once I seen that there was multiple clutches, there was three different for the twin plate that uses this pressure plate. There was three different versions, right? But I noticed each one had a different color spring. I noticed, thank God, the ones that I pulled off still had the paint on them, and I could tell that they were orange in color or red in color, right? So I thought I narrowed it down. And I still didn't narrow it down because I eliminated one kit. One kit uses black springs. The other two kits still use like a reddish orange spring. I couldn't figure out what I had. Um, the other thing is, I was looking here and I noticed the disc setups were a little bit different, but I still wasn't certain. So, what you guys got to do with a twin plate, and probably I'm quite sure the triple plate clutches as well, is measure. You got to measure your disc. And while I'm doing that, let's go over, and I'm going to pop this out of here. Go back. I want you guys to see this as well on film so you know what you have moving forward, right? All right, so once I narrowed it down, there's two options still left. You have I want to say an 8-inch. Yeah, it was like a little bit over an 8-inch, and then you got an 8.5 disc, right? And I don't know if that's going to show up all that great. It should, but this is 8.5. So good news for me. Once I figured out that it was an 8.5, I was able to start looking at the specs of this clutch. And this is the clutch that I have. It's a CD, a CB, and one more. But what I have, this clutch setup is rated for 650 foot-pounds of torque. You're talking about being ecstatic. I really felt like I had won the lottery once I figured that out, because I'm not going to say the clutch is indestructible, because it's not. Any clutch is indestructible, but my goals with the car, I should not exceed 600 foot-pounds of torque. Realistically, guys, torque numbers, I'm talking torque numbers because it's not a V8, but torque numbers, I don't really see myself exceeding the 500 to 550 foot-pound torque rating. So I should be good. So now I want to talk to you guys a little bit more about the process, right? Guys, I went to the OS Giken US store, looked up that same rebuild kit, which I'll put in the description if you guys want to check it out on your own. Just want you guys to understand the climate that we are in, and we've been in this climate for a long time. This kit from the US OS Giken distributor, which is actually OS Giken because you can buy direct from them, was listed for $850 plus shipping, and it had, I think it was like a 2 to 3 month window wait. Okay, so I went to the couple of distributors that I knew, and only one had the measurement size and actually helped me figure out what I had, and that was Right Hand Drive Japan. Again, I'm going to put their vendor information in the bottom of the video in the description so you guys can check it out, because they're not just into the GTR game. If you guys are into Japanese cars, whatever model, it's companies out there that's over there that you guys need to check out. Anyways, long story short, with tariffs in place, I was able to get this complete clutch kit for $620 shipped to the United States. It took about a week and a half to get it. They were extremely slow. That's the slowest I've experienced from a Japanese vendor or distributor that has this stuff in stock, right? But it took about a week and a half. But again, it was well over $300 less getting it directly from Japan than the States. And also with the States was the official OS Giken website was not clear in what I actually had, right? So you guys don't think it's no bull crap. As you can see, it's Japanese newspapers. By the way, the Japanese, they really pack their stuff up really good. Now, I've already went and looked at all of this stuff, right? Make sure it's verified what it is. This here is the actual, you see the care that they took putting this. And this is a tool, but this is how they wrap the tool up. But yeah, this is the alignment tool. And it's really what this is, guys, if you look at it, is a cut shaft. It's metal. It's not plastic. It's a cut shaft. It's from the GTR transmissions, from the 32, 33 5-speed. That's what that is, right? So I got that. I needed that kit. Oh yeah, by the way, I am over talking myself. That tool is separate from the kit. So everything was $650 shipped here. You can't beat it. The just again, to put things in perspective, just the rebuild kit, less tool from the USOS Giken, was almost $900, $850 without freight. That put me well over $900. And now, here's another thing. For that kind of money, for, I would say, $900 US, right? $900 US, I could have got a whole new clutch kit if I wanted to. But the reason I didn't want to and I wanted to rebuild this is, like I showed in previous videos, this clutch setup has been blueprinted and balanced. As you can see all of that. That's balancing, right? And just dealing with the harmonics of the RB engine, I didn't want to take a chance. I got to sit this down. Give me 1 second, because there's something important that you got to pay attention to when you get this set up. All right. So there we go. There's the brand new disc. As you can see, it's got a little bit more meat on it than these, but they're still okay. You got to pay attention to orientation, the way it comes out, and also from the factory, they say that you got to pay attention to the way it's put in package, because it's got to go on the car the same way. So these plates, everything, the way this is sitting in here, when I take that out, I got to make sure it goes on the car in the same orientation. So yeah, I mean, it comes with this rebuild kit, comes with new disc, and it comes with new intermediate plates as well. And as you wanted to see, this is what a brand new plate looks like compared to the heat soaked one. But eventually, I mean, this will get wear on it. You know, it's a wearable item. A clutch is a wearable item. But that's it. And you can see how much heat was put into this disc compared to a stock one. And that's like copper metallic. So it's a very good, expensive clutch, performance clutch, racing clutch, is what they say it is. But it's sprung. It is sprung. Now, the other thing that this kit comes with, like I said, it comes with the disc, it comes with your intermediate plates, and it also comes with your new bolts with new wave washers. So you install all of that. The other thing is I wanted to talk about, so if you remember from previous videos, the previous video, the flywheel looked like that, with extremely heat, right? So the only thing I did was take a brown Rolock disc in my grinding, polishing wheel, and just knocked all that heat out of there. Eventually, it's going to come back to this, you know, but I didn't take this off. I left it on, and if you can see, this is the finish from the factory, and that's the finish that I was able to put back on there. It's damn near close. It's almost the same finish. So there, it's fine. So the thing is, what you want to do is get your heat soak stuff out of there by resurfacing this area. And what you do is, it's not extremely rough, but you're taking it from like a glass mirror finish to putting a nice rough crosshatch finish back in there. That's going to help the new clutch disc bead and set and grab, and that's what you want. You want that right there. That's the kind of finish you're after. So anyways, that being said, I'm gonna go ahead, set up the tripod, show me working and putting this on the car a little bit, and then like I said, I just making sure about the orientation. That is something that is very, very important. Reading the instructions and everything from OS Giken is you make sure the way that this clutch system setup leaves the factory with the disc and your plates, that it goes hard the same way. So what they're saying is, in this essence, what they don't want is you're mixing these two discs up because they look identical. It's like you can't tell the difference. But apparently there's a difference from the factory. I don't know what that is, but the factory instructions tell you to make sure that you do that. So hold tight. All right, guys, so I'm back now on film. Just wanted to go over a couple of pointers before we really get to cracking. I went ahead and cleaned my bolts. I gotta still clean my pressure plate bolts. But what I've been using on this build, is I kind of gotten away from using brake wash, parts wash for a lot, and I have this 90% alcohol that seems to clean. I mean, as long as it's not heavily greased and oiled, it seems to prep and clean these hardware pieces very well. I've used it on a couple of pieces, so I went ahead pre-cleaned my flywheel bolts. I got to do the same thing for the pressure plate bolts, and then also, crazy thing is, like the younger me, I would have probably used the strongest freaking Loctite. Probably if they had it back then, probably would have used orange Loctite, which wouldn't have been good coming back apart potentially. So what I've been using on this build, on this everything that I know that would have to come back apart, to give myself some type of insurance. It's not only like the suspension pieces of the car. So those suspension pieces I've went with like red Loctite. But anyways, long story short, I've been using 243. 243 is like a little bit more oil resistant, and you don't need a primer to use this Loctite. So this is what I've been. Right, you actually, if the proper way, guys, if you didn't know, is you got to use a primer for Loctite. But anyways, go ahead and put my blue Loctite on. Another thing that you got to pay attention to on RBs is, I better show it. I'll show it on the flywheel, and then I'll put the camera back up. So here, if you look, there's this pin or a smaller circle, right? Your crank has the same thing. What you got to do is make sure that lines up to that. You can't just put this on the way that you're feeling on a Monday or Sunday. You got to make sure all that stuff lines up. So okay, right. So it's going in there by hand. All right. Okay, I like that. Good. So don't be afraid just to stop, take it back out and re-examine it, especially on your anything pertaining to the engine for sure. And once you're done getting your bolts all started by hand, you can go in like a star pattern or just, opposites of each other, so you work your way all the way around. Now, another thing I want you guys to notice is I gingerly hit it with my gun to snug them up, but it's still not tight. So I'm not going to run that like that. But I just wanted to go all the way even around, make sure she's nice and seated. And I did have it a little crooked one spot, but once I snugged it, she kind of, she pulled herself straight. You see me tap it on with the hammer to make sure everything was fine. But by me having to move it, wiggle it around in the position, it kind of, it got loose a little bit from the way I had it. But anyways, like I said, just snugging it up, I was able to get everything nice and plumb. Now, go ahead and stand on it. All right, so she's tight. And then what you want to do is, once you get it tight, you want to go over this with your torque wrench. Just make sure you got it torqued down. Flywheel bolts on the RB is anywhere from, I want to say it was like 108 to 112 foot-pounds, right? So I have two different size torque wrenches. I have this one here that goes to foot-pounds, and I have this one. The reason I'm going to use this one will go up to 115 foot-pounds, but it's at the top of its chart, where this one is rated 250 at the top of its chart, but it can go up to 275 foot-pounds. So I have a lot more precision with this one as opposed to maxing that out and trying to get the torque. But I mean, if you were in a bind and that's all you have, that's all you have. Back to this, guys. I should have waited to put that on there. Sucks, man. Let's try it that way. Well, guys, I don't have an effective way of locking this from spinning on me. So what I'm gonna have to do is just make sure I hit it again with the gun. That's the best that I can do with it. There's no other way really for me to do that. Dang it. Kind of wanted you guys to see the process of it, but you gotta do sometimes. That's how we do it out in the field. That's for sure. But yeah, that's the flat rate way, guys. Kind of bummed that I didn't have a place where I could really lock in, just to check this, just so you guys could see it. I might be able to put something in here, like a bolt, and stand off of it. Let's see if I could try that real quick, just so you guys can see, what it takes to do this. tip 2. All right, guys, so as you can see, that worked. I was able to put a bolt here in one of my, where the transmission would mount. And that was enough to get, get that on there, just to make sure she torqued. And as you heard those clicks, those nice, loud, aggressive clicks, that, yeah, she's torqued. So the flywheel's ready to go. Shouldn't have a problem with that. So just hold tight. I'm gonna go ahead, clean everything up, get it prepped. Then I'll talk a little bit about the basket and then how you put your clutch pack in there.